Right. All right, you guys. So last week or 2 weeks ago, on what I considered our first coaching call of the year, we really just a really quick review. We went over, the pieces of identity. I kind of touched back on how us really diving in and understanding and knowing who we truly are, how that really matters in our journey, not just to get, a goal here that we're all trying to accomplish. We all have goals and dreams and ambitions, but also when this actually happens and we start playing out in the present now, who we see ourselves in the future, that's how reality actually gets collapsed into the now time. For the new people in here, you haven't heard me probably say it like this is if you want to lose 100 pounds, you have to start seeing yourself as that person who is already 100 pounds lost. That's living a future reality in the present now. So those habits that you sit down and you ask yourself, what is the best me, the highest self me do? And you can sit there and think about that. And then you can be like, oh, I can do a lot of those things right now. I'm just not doing them. So that's kind of how we start simplifying acting in a present now versus always getting stuck in this process of someday, someday I'll do it. When I have enough money, I'll do it. Or when I have enough time, I'll do it. And we can actually start living in the now. Like some people have talked to me about like, dude, I really want to serve, in the community greater. I want to feed the hungry. I want to do all these things. And it's like, go buy $4 cheeseburgers at McDonald's and give them to three people on the street. Like that's an example of doing, even though maybe you want to give millions, it might start with the dollar menu. You know what I mean? And it's still serving the same way. So we were really talking about how we're shifting our thinking. We're transforming our mind to be renewed. And I went into the deeperness. I won't get into all that tonight. I will repost 2 weeks ago in the group chat if you want to catch up on that. I kind of go into some actual meanings behind those words that will connect with you. But we have to continue to grow in this way and more so in an intrinsic way in connecting with our deeper why. And I've talked a little bit about that in the past of I've asked you guys like, what is your why? And most of you who, reached out to me on Instagram, I asked you that. I was like, what's your big why behind wanting to do this or wanting to lose weight or whatever your goal is? And we talk a little bit about that, but we have to continue to even go deeper into our why and our identity so we can't be moved out of that. And I want to share a little 10-second video. I'm going to share my screen because I want to give a visual to this of something that's just been connecting with me. I don't know why it connected with me this week because it's a really old video. Okay, I think I shared screen. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
Okay, sweet. All right. This is Kobe Bryant. This is a game years and years ago. So they're playing the Magic. This is Barnes. And what you don't see in the short clip is all game long, Barnes was trying to get in Kobe's head. Like he was cheap shotting him. He was talking smack in his ear all game long. Like it was nasty. He takes the ball out of bounds here. He throws it right in his face. And Kobe doesn't even flinch. Like not even to the closest amount, even blink an eye. So there's like other videos that you can see a close up, these other camera angles, and the ball is literally this far away from his nose, and his eyes don't even blink. Like my 9 year old, like fake throws a football at me, and I'm like I'm flinching all over the place. And this dude's so locked in that he doesn't even blink or flinch. Like it's an example for me. I just wanted to use it as this visual of there was no getting in Kobe's head in that moment. Like it was only going to make him like, oh, he's just going to turn it on and drop 50 on you. But it's like the whole point is though, is Kobe knew so much intrinsically who he was that it didn't matter what Barnes was doing to get in his head. It wasn't going to take Kobe out of his game because he knew who he was so deeply. And so this is where it's like we have to move into the intrinsic part of our why. And we've talked a lot about the extrinsic part, the external piece of why we want to do this, which is like, well, I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to look better at the pool with my shirt off. Like, I want to look good for my wife. I'm going to start dating again. All of these extrinsic reasons Even I talk about them a lot, right? We're like, I want to be present with my kids and active and hike and hunt, all extrinsic things. None of those are wrong. But if we want a forever fuel source, we have to start moving this to be intrinsic. This is where it's moving from inspiration, from motivation to inspiration. I said that backwards. From motivation to inspiration. Think about that word. So we talk about intrinsic, right? Inspiration. It's inward. It actually, there's a root word, a Latin word in inspiration that literally means breath or spirit. So let that connect with you for a second about when it's inside of you, this inspiration, this breath is inside of you, and that's revealing your true self to you. That's revealing your authenticity. So you can move down your path in your journey in a way that's actually you, and you don't have to play the imposter syndrome anymore. You don't have to do and try to accomplish the goals that you think you're supposed to, or somebody told you that you were supposed to. And you can actually just start listening and be inspired by what it is that you are truly dreaming of, what you are truly desiring, what you truly want to accomplish in your own life. And that's why last week, when I was talking about us changing the way that we think, I said, now remember, I'm not trying to get any one of you to think the way that I think. I want to fully encourage you to go on your journey and start moving into the way that you are supposed to think. I want to give you permission, even though you don't need anybody's permission. You sure as the heck don't need mine. But this is the only way I know how to say that is just like, I want to tell you to continue to lean into that, to continue to be so deeply you, right? So the inspired piece. And this is where it's like, for me, it goes into this. This is the journey piece. Let's say I want to go climb a mountain. So I want to go climb a mountain because the external would be I want to climb a mountain because I want to accomplish this. I want to see the view. I want to hike the highest peak in the world. I want to go to Mount Everest, like all these externals. But I think a lot of business owners even understand this, or people who have like really like risking it, where they're like, if you've been in it long enough, you kind of start to realize like, man, everything that I've become over the years of running this business, like, oh, that's what it's kind of about. It's really self-developed me. And so when you're climbing the mountain, it's the same thing, right? I want to go do something hard. I want to go climb this mountain. I want to go lose this 50 pounds because I want to understand and know who the person I have to become is in order to achieve that. That's when it starts getting really fun because that's when our mind starts moving then intrinsically versus always extrinsically. That's when we really start to have a forever fuel source that won't run out because it's eternal, right? Or being inspired, that breath, that's an eternal piece. So it never runs out. It's always going to be feeding you to be truly you. So don't like ask yourself this. This is something I want you guys all to ask yourself this week is don't I want to know who I have to become in order to achieve the goal that I have or the dream that I have? Don't I want to know who I have to become to do that? That's exciting. That's legit. So our goals must align with our hearts. They must align with that internal. They must not go into somebody else of what that syndrome is this time. This go around, we're going to start doing it in this way. And I know some of you have felt that before already, that this is what transformation is versus behavior modification. So, like, have you done something hard in your life where you're like, you get done doing something there, maybe you ran a half marathon or a marathon and you were like, I feel like I can do anything right now. Like you died doing it, but all you're like, I feel like I can freaking conquer the world. I can do anything right now. You just experienced transformation. That's part of that. You're literally just experienced a form of transformation there. And so we must continue to take these risks. We have to feel alive in this and actually be alive. So, like,
Come here.
this really convinced me even this week. I was on a call with a guy that wanted to join the group, and we kind of got down to it. We were kind of going over all of it, and so many of you have been on that call with me. And he's like, man, I don't know. I got bills and I got rent. And I was like, yeah, like we all, what man doesn't? Like, we all have these things. But a lot of times we get stuck in this piece where I can't quite take that risk. And in this case, it was money. It was a monetary piece. It's not always that. Sometimes it's just a fear piece. What if I fail? What will I look like to my wife or to my husband if I don't do this again? I just paid for training for the third time and I failed the first two times. We've all been down that road. And so it's like we start thinking about our past failures and they start to actually dictate how we are in the future because we can't stop thinking about the fear of them versus who do I want to become when I climb that mountain? I want to see that. This is just the slight way that we start shifting our thinking, guys. This is where I'm just pulling in a little bit of logical thinking versus always like heart thinking. So we have to start diving into those pieces of why we're not taking some of these risks, why we're not going all in on ourselves, why we're not just being like, you know what, for the next 365, what would really happen if I looked in the mirror every day and be like, did I get better today? And you look yourself in the eyes. It's weird. If you haven't done it, try it. It's weird. Look yourself in the eyes, and be like, did I get better today? And if you can honestly look at yourself, be like, yeah, I did. Hell yeah. Sweet. Let's get it. Let's do it again tomorrow. But I just like try that for 365 and see how your whole life literally shifts. I guarantee you it'll shift after 2 months. Like you go in all yourself for 60 days, 30 days even, wild things will start to happen. Doors will start to open. Things will start shifting for you. Things that were hard before start becoming natural. And it's all because you decided to just lock in, not flinch. When that ball is getting thrown right at your face, you're deciding, I'm not, dude, I know who I am. And that's why I'm continuing to talk about this mind piece, this connective piece, this going intrinsic piece, because we have to know who we actually are, because that dictates how we actually act. And most of the time, we try to act first instead of shifting who we are and realizing who we are first. And that's why we keep messing up, right, for the third time, or, that's just why. It is 100% why, because we try to change our behavior versus transform into who we actually are. Okay, so I want you guys to do this. I'm gonna open it up here just for any like comments or own personal experience that you guys had on anything that we talk about. But I want you to do this. I want you to this week write this one down. Why do I want to accomplish that? I said this. Why do I want to accomplish this? That's your own goals. That can be in your health and fitness. Obviously, that should be one of them. It can be in a relationship. It can be in your business. It can be in your work, whatever that is. Why do I want to accomplish this? And be honest with yourself. And it's okay. You're going to find out, you're going to write down like three things. You're going to be like, oh crap, they're all extrinsic. That's okay because that's a starting point. Even if they're extrinsic, that's a starting point. And it's just, we're going to keep going and you're going to start going down. Like Katie, even ask your, like, I'll use Katie as an example because I can, because she's my sister-in-law. So I'm going to send it. Like Katie, ask her, like, you could ask yourself something like this, like, why do I love Chris? That, I mean, you can list off all the things like, well, he opens a door for me or whatever. Hopefully he does that. I don't know. I'm bad at that. But it's like there's sometimes though where I don't have always, like if you were to ask me why I love Amy, I don't know if I have a whole lot. Maybe that sounds bad, but I'm like, I don't know if I have, I mean, I can list off all the things I like about her and I love about her, but it's not the reason I love her. That's when things started getting intrinsic, is they don't always actually connect with the logical mind. And so don't feel bad if you're like sitting here trying to be like, dude, Jordan, I can't figure this out. That's okay. This is part of that process and that journey of all this. So there's that one. And there's that first one I said too, don't I want to know who I'm becoming in order to achieve my goals? Like, don't I like ask that? Ask yourself that several times a week in the next week or two. Don't I want to know? Like when things get really hard, you don't want to go to the gym and your alarm goes off at 4:45. And like, okay, I could hit snooze and sleep for 45 more minutes before I have to get up and go to work, or I could get up and go smash this workout. That's when you ask yourself, don't I want to know who I'd become if I actually did this? Let's see. That's when you ask that question. Okay. Okay. That's that's the gist of tonight. Is there anybody that's like, dude, I kind of have this experience with this, or I have something to share along these same lines? Let's open it up for a few minutes. If there's anybody that wants to pull in here. Don't all jump in at once, guys. I don't know how to turn all you guys off mute at one time.
I'll share a little.
Yeah,
So
let's do it,
I
Dean.
was I did a lot of self work, listening to people like Daniel Goleman. So that's the guy who's behind emotional intelligence
Okay.
and Tony Robbins. And one thing that really clicked with me with Tony Robbins that made me get more
Mhm.
introspective, was changing behaviors is the first step, but he kind of echoes, or you echo him, however it's going, about you can change your behaviors, but and this goes back to the root of what you were saying, without the why are you doing this, a good why. It's just a behavior change and sometimes won't become permanent.
Yeah.
So you do have to have that kind of the real why, that's kind of what you started off with.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
that's so good. And it's okay when that shifts and changes over time. Mine has. Like what motivated me a year ago doesn't isn't my why today. And my why right now might not be my why later. But as we continue to grow and transform, I think that's accurate. We're expanding. When you're doing the work like this, you're expanding. So things should expand. That's great, Dean. I love that. Anybody else? Not. We will start closing her down. As always, keep the conversation going with me if you'd like. If you have something too that you're like, dude, I just want to share with you personally, always drop it in my DMs. If you have something you think of later, you want to share it with the group, drop it in that group chat. I love the interaction that we've had going on in there lately. It's freaking great. I love the sharing of recipes, the workouts. It's amazing. Let's keep that going as well. And then the next coaching call, guys, will be 2 weeks from tonight. I believe it's still in February. Yeah, February 25th. So mark that on your calendars. Next week, just a little fair warning, just I got so many of you in the room tonight. We'll be in Arizona for our Live Beyond Average retreat. And so if I'll be there most of the week, the front end of the week I'll be working there, so you'll hear back from me. The back end of the week, I might be a little slow. If you guys message me, I'm not ignoring you, just might be a little slow getting back to you on a couple of those nights. Okay. So don't fret there, but everything else should be as is normal, other than maybe just some slow response or a little less response from me. So if there's no other questions tonight, we'll shut her down, we'll close her down, and we'll gather back. Let's have a great week. Let's keep crushing the workouts. Let's get the food going, and then let's ask ourselves those hard questions. All right. Have a great night, you guys. See you guys later.
All right. Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.
Thanks, Jordan.
All right.
How about you
Yep.
guys?
Have
Bye,
a good one,
Jordan.
everyone. Bye.
Have a great week in Arizona.
Yes, I'm gonna enjoy some sun, dude. Let's go.
All
I wish.
right.
See ya.